I'll write the script now. Let me get to it directly. I want to tell you about the single biggest mistake I see men over 60 make, and it almost never happens in the doctor's office. It happens about 3 weeks after, when the relief wears off and life goes right back to normal. If you've ever gotten a normal blood test and quietly thought, "Good, I'm fine," stay with me, because that one word, normal, fools more men than any bad result ever could. Here's what happens. You go in. You're a little nervous. Maybe your numbers have been creeping up for years. Maybe a buddy your age just had a scare. The nurse draws the blood, you wait a few days, and then you get the call or the little message in the app. Everything looks normal. And what do you feel? Relief. Pure relief. Honestly, I've felt it myself. That big exhale, that "okay, dodged it" feeling. And there is nothing wrong with the relief. The problem is what the relief quietly does next, because relief turns into permission. I'm normal becomes I don't have to change anything. The walks you were going to start, maybe next week. The late night snacking you were going to cut. Well, the test was fine, so how bad can it be? The stress you promised to manage, that's just life. Within a month, every old habit walks right back in the front door, and now it brings a friend. Confidence. You're not just doing the old habits, you're doing them while believing you're in the clear. That's the mistake. Treating normal as done. So let me reframe what that normal result actually means, because this is the part most men get completely backwards, and it changes everything about how you act this week. Stay with me, because I'll give you 3 simple things to do by the end, and the third one is the one almost nobody does. A normal blood test did not buy you safety, it bought you time. Those are 2 very different things. Safety would mean the problem is gone. Time means the problem hasn't shown up in the numbers yet. And here's why that gap matters so much for men our age. It comes down to your blood vessels, and to one thing in particular. Let me explain it the way I wish someone had explained it to me. So much of a man's vitality, his energy, his stamina, his firmness and strength down there, it's mostly a blood flow event. It depends on healthy, flexible blood vessels and on a little molecule called nitric oxide, which is what tells those vessels to relax and open up so blood can rush in. When everything's working, the vessels open, flow is strong, and you feel it. That's the machinery. Now here's the quiet damage. When your blood sugar runs high, and I don't mean full diabetes, I mean even that borderline pre-range that often still reads as acceptable, it slowly injures the delicate lining inside your blood vessels. That lining is called the endothelium, and it's the factory that makes nitric oxide. Damage the lining, you make less nitric oxide, and the vessels can't open the way they should. Flow drops. And here's the kicker, the thing that ties it all together. The vessels that supply performance down there are small, much smaller than the ones around your heart. So when this damage begins, those small vessels show it first, sometimes years before anything ever turns up in a heart scan or a standard panel, which means a change in your circulation, your morning strength, your firmness below the belt is often the earliest warning signal your body has. It's the canary. It's whispering to you long before your lab numbers start shouting. So now go back to that normal result. Do you see why it can be so misleading? A standard test might catch your blood sugar, but it doesn't measure the health of that vessel lining. It doesn't measure your nitric oxide. It can read normal while those small vessels are already taking on quiet, slow damage. Normal isn't the all clear. Normal is a warning shot. It's the universe handing you a head start, and most men waste it celebrating. Let me tell you about a man I'll keep anonymous. Call it a story I've heard a version of more times than I can count. 60s, decent shape, gets a normal panel. He's thrilled. Goes right back to the desserts, the sitting, the "I'll start Monday." 2-3 years later he comes back in, and now he's noticing things. Less energy. Things down there not what they were. And this time the numbers have moved, the wrong way. Nothing dramatic happened in between. No single bad day. Just a slow drift that his normal result told him he didn't need to watch. The relief cost him the very years he could have used. I don't want that to be you. And the good news, genuinely, is that the small vessels in that vessel lining can be remarkably responsive when you actually give them a reason to be. So here are 3 simple things to do in the week after a normal test. Not someday, this week. First, go pull out the actual numbers. Don't accept the word normal. Open the app, find the report, and look at your fasting glucose and, if it's there, your A1C. Go ahead, do this with me. Even just locating it counts. You're looking for the trend, not just the label. Is this year's number higher than 2 years ago, even if both are in range? That direction tells you more than the single value. A creeping number inside the normal zone is exactly that warning shot we talked about. Second, move right after you eat, the simplest, most underrated thing. A 10 to 15 minute walk after your biggest meal blunts the blood sugar spike that does the vessel damage. You don't need a gym. You need the time between dinner and the couch. That window is where a lot of the harm happens, and it's where a quiet walk does a lot of quiet good. Research consistently links regular movement to better circulation and healthier vessels, and this is the easiest place to start. And by the way, on the nitric oxide side of this, supporting your body's ability to make it and keep flow strong. There's a natural blood flow support I personally like and use. I left it down in the description if you ever want to look into it. No pressure at all, just something I've found worth knowing about. Third, and this is the one almost nobody does, book the follow-up now, not in a year by default. Put a reminder in your phone to recheck in a few months and decide on one habit you'll change between now and then, so the recheck actually means something. A test you don't act on is just trivia. A test you respond to is a tool. That's the whole difference between buying safety and buying time and then using it. So let's close the loop we opened. The biggest mistake isn't a bad result. It's a good one that makes you stop paying attention. Normal doesn't mean you're safe. It means you've been handed time, a warning shot, a head start, and what you do in the week after is what decides whether those small vessels stay open and strong or quietly drift the other way while you're not looking. You've got more control here than anyone made you believe. The vessels respond, the lining can heal, nitric oxide can come back up, but only if you treat normal as the beginning of the work, not the end of it. And like I mentioned, if you want to check out the natural support I use for healthy blood flow, it's down in the description, entirely up to you. Take care of those small vessels, my friend. They're telling you the truth long before anything else will. And just so we're clear, this is general education, not medical advice. So bring any real changes or concerns to your own doctor. I'll see you in the next one.